let's start here, Aaron, the owners' meetings, and Jimmy Haslam, who owns the Cleveland Browns. Man, did he have a quote out of the NFL owners' meetings in Florida, and you gave me that, and I'm now looking for it. Do you have it, Justin?
I got you. Here you go.
You have it? Okay. Here we go. You don't hear Browns owner Jimmy Haslam said this, quote, "We took a big swing and miss with Deshaun. We thought we had the quarterback. We didn't, and we gave up a lot of draft picks to get him. So we've got to dig ourselves out of that hole." And he didn't say was an entire organization. It was an entire organization decision, and it ends with Dede and I, so hold us accountable. He has come to the NFL owners meeting and basically undressed himself. I mean, you don't hear an owner out and out say, now, Deshaun Watson's still on your team. He's supposed to be the quarterback next year. This might have been after they released him or something, when you say we swung and missed. Wow. You don't get that kind of honesty, and I'm going to let you take the first stab at it.
No, first of all, I give him credit. He said to end that quote, it was an entire organization decision, and it ends with D&I, so hold us accountable. And I will say, in defense of him, one, it's like the owner has to sign off on something that big, right? I mean, it was at the time.
Fully guaranteed contract.
Fully guaranteed contract for a guy that was in the middle of, I don't know what the right verbiage is to describe that investigation, but we know what that investigation was about.
It was not a pretty picture.
It was not a pretty picture. And so I understand it was an investigation. I understand what the NFL found. I understand what the investigators found. But it was a bad deal. The Texans were obviously ready to move on. They're doing very well. And so outside of the fact that it has been a disaster, that it has been the worst contract in NFL history, I don't think anybody even debates that anymore. I just go ahead and give him credit for saying, look, I am the owner. I obviously had to sign off on this. It starts and stops with me. But I think it is safe to say we took a big swing and a big miss. I will say, in hindsight, Deshaun, when he had last played, was a really good quarterback, so I think that is worth noting. But it doesn't change the fact that he was coming off of a year in which he refused to play. He was going to get suspended as part of the investigation. And on top of it, the investigation itself. So, yeah, it was a big swing, and it was certainly a big miss.
You're being kind.
Do it.
And Haslam is to blame.
Oh, yeah.
Deshaun Watson was a mess with what was going on. He thought he was going to cheat the system.
Okay.
We're going to perch this fine quarterback in the midst of this scandal. And we could do it because we're going to get him because, they want to get rid of him. He don't want to be there. And we'll luck out. So what we'll do is we'll give him a fully guaranteed contract. We'll try to take him in the midst of this big scandal that they tried to ignore and act like nothing happened. And they got burnt, and rightfully so. This is why the Cleveland Browns are a bad organization. Because they thought they were getting away with it. They thought they were being slick. Oh, we'll just ignore the obvious. It wasn't an elephant in the room. There were 4 elephants in the room.
There were a lot. There was a lot in the room.
And they thought, we're smarter than everybody else. We're going to swoop in and save the day, and people will come back and say, man, they were smart to go get Deshaun Watson.
Can I say something real quick on that? First of all, it's easy to forget. Did you have more to say?
No,
I don't
go
want
ahead.
to cut you off. One, it's easy to forget. If you remember, I happened to be on air with Dan Byer. We were filling in for Doug Gottlieb when the trade happened. And that day we were talking, it was either going to be the Carolina Panthers or it was going to be the Atlanta Falcons. And so it was just this weird thing from the beginning where he didn't want to go to Cleveland. You had to pay him so much more than everybody else. And then, yes, to your point, kind of cheats the system, games the system, gives him hundreds of millions more guaranteed than virtually anybody else would have. But on top of that, Rob, you know what was crazy watching it unfold in real time? One, first of all, he was suspended for most of the next season. But two, even when he came back, it was no longer Deshaun Watson, the incredible player from the Houston Texans. It was hard to root, and it was easy to root against the Cleveland Browns. I think that's what stands out to me more than anything else, is that it's one thing if you just acquire a guy and you overpay for him and whatever, but I remember watching those games being like, oh, this guy is playing, this guy is making this much money to play football in the NFL, and he got away with what we know he got away with. It just, even before we realized that Deshaun was washed up and wasn't good anymore, it just felt weird and gross when he was actually taking the field after what we found out, not only what he was accused of, but what the NFL found out that he was actually guilty of.
100%. 100%. And that's why they're to blame for this. And remember, he had been suspended. He hadn't played. They just thought, well, what's the big deal? We'll get him, and we'll have our quarterback prayers. And he's never been the same.
No.
Never, not even close.
Well, remember, he sat out the year before because he demanded a trade.
Right. This is what I'm trying to say. Right. When you look at all of the elephants in the room,
yes.
He hadn't played for a significant amount of time. This is professional sports. You can't just sit out a year and show up. Do you remember when Michael Jordan played baseball and showed up at the end of the season and they got knocked out right away? Mike, he hadn't played.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care who you are. They made a mistake. He better take the blame. This was a first guess, not a second guess. It was wrong all the way around, and I don't know how you can look at it. Do you feel sad, or do you feel sad for the Browns because they thought they got their quarterback, or did they get what they deserved? 877-99 on Fox. 877-996-6369. I'm telling you, they got what they deserved. They ignored his behavior. They acted as if it didn't mean anything. They ignored that he hadn't played. And it all piled up on him that when he finally got back on the football field, he's a shell of himself. I should say this, a broken shell of himself. Deshaun Watson, I haven't recognized that guy wearing a Browns uniform. That's not the guy who played in Houston. Not at all. And the Browns deserve every bit of it. Good for you. That's the next time you try to cheat the system and think you're pulling a fast one on everybody else in the NFL. The Browns deserve all of this and more.